Mic check, snack check. What's the topic? We'll figure it out. Pass the snacks, turn the microphones on. We came for one subject, now that subject is gone. Mason and Dakota with a whole lot to say. Like you're chilling on FaceTime at the end of the day. Snackin' and yakkin', come hang out.
Hey guys, welcome back to SnackinAndYackin podcast. I'm Mason.
And I'm Dakota. Guys, welcome back.
All right, get ready to strap into this roller coaster of chaos, and let's get into it.
All right. I cannot tell you how excited I am to talk about this next topic.
Heck yeah. What'd you say? You said it was about what this week? What'd you say it was about?
It's about my favorite horror game. I wouldn't say horror movies, but favorite horror franchise, and that's Silent Hill.
Oh yeah, you got the Silent Hill shirt on. I should have got me
Yeah.
one.
I had to get the Silent Hill out.
Shoot, I almost got me one of them shirts one time. It was like a ghost with like big butt cheeks, and it was called it was like the Spooky Booty shirt, and I was like, hell yeah. I needed one, but I couldn't do it.
Spooky Booty.
My wife wouldn't sign off on it. She was like, "I'm not paying $20 for ass cheeks on a shirt."
You know why I thought, what came to my head? I was thinking of Ghostface with just a thick ass booty. I don't know.
Just out here slaughtering that motherfucker. Killing that booty.
Man. Yeah, but
he can't sneak up on you with this clap of his ass cheeks. So
that's what I was about to say. He's gonna be clapping while you're getting clapped. Oh
shit.
I'm so shit. But yeah, so we're gonna be talking about Silent Hill, which that's my favorite horror game. I figured we can, as far as my first topic, we introduce that to our people about something that I really enjoy and I care about. And so, basically we're just gonna talk about basically what Silent Hill is itself, like the town and the lore behind it.
So with like you talking about we're doing Silent Hill as a topic today, are we going through like the games and stuff? Or like how are we doing this? Like because I played the game, but like I know there's a lot more lore to it as well, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so there's breaking down Silent Hill 1, 2, 3, Silent Hill 4, Origins, Shattered Memories, there's Silent Hill Homecoming, Silent Hill Downpour, Silent Hill Book of Memories.
Does it rain in Downpour?
Yeah, it does.
It rains in Downpour?
Yeah, it rains in Downpour.
I could have never guessed.
Yeah.
It's like a movie called Waterworld with no water.
Yeah. So, fun fact, it's Downpour because when it rains and thunderstorms, that's when the creatures come out. That's why it's called Downpour.
Yeah, more to follow on that.
That's we'll come back to that. But basically just the whole lore and just basically the Silent Hill town itself. And we can, if there's any curiosities and where we go off of, we can bring up parts of the different games and characters and their backgrounds really. But basically, I just want to introduce it to the people out there because now that it's back on the rise, there's people that's probably heard of it and don't know what it is. Well, I'm gonna do the obligations and rights to bring it out there.
So you talking about it being on the rise? It still ain't rising as big as Resident Evil has so far. I don't think the comeback's happening.
Well, because it's not gonna be as big as Resident Evil first. But
everybody loves Leon. James is no. I mean, he's
James,
always having a pillow
Harry,
fight.
Heather.
Yeah, James
there's
is always
other ones that add up.
Fight.
There's pillow fight. Okay.
If y'all know anything about the game, you're gonna find out about that later. But if you know anything about the game, the pillow fight joke is actually better than you think.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good too.
Oh my goodness!
Basically, anything we talk about the town or got any questions? Basically, whatever I just want to talk about.
Yeah, that's true. Hell yeah, that's how we're gonna do. We're gonna get into it. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking the HEB sweetened cherry sparkling water.
Oh, so it's not an Lollipop today?
No, Lollipop. You're probably drinking a Dr. Pepper.
Of course I'm drinking a Dr. Pepper. It kind of blends into our environment.
It kind of blends into your background. So, because if I do... Oh, no. Wait. I guess it works. I guess... Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
My hand disappeared.
I also got crackers over here, but I'm trying not to eat those during this because I don't want anybody being like... Yeah, I mean...
Speaking of crackers, anybody that's got popcorn or snacks, get it, sit down.
Get comfortable.
And enjoy the ride with us.
Facts.
So, get started or anything else you'd like to say or add?
No, I'm excited because, like I said, I played the games and stuff, and we watched that movie or whatever together the other day. And it was not bad, but they were different a little bit. So, maybe I'll learn something different that you got that I didn't know, kind of like how the movie was, where I was like, oh, it's going to be like the game, and you were like, not really. And I was like, oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so fortunately, it's not like how Resident Evil is, where the games match up with the movies per se.
Not really. I mean, Leon's not in any of the movies. It's all
You
following that
don't?
one girl. Yeah, it follows the girl who's from like
No, it's not. Wow.
I'm trying to think of
I
what's
don't
her
I don't
name?
know why I said that.
She played Lilu in the
The
Fifth Element.
female chick.
Yeah, Mila Jokovic, that's her name. She plays
Yeah.
in like
Pulp
yeah.
Fiction. And
She's
The
not no Pulp
Element.
Fiction.
Not
She's in
Pulp
Fifth
Fiction.
Element.
Fifth Element. Yeah. Well, they got
That's
some of the
Uma
same
Thurman.
actors in there.
That's Uma Thurman in the
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction, but also Bruce Willis
Fifth
is in
Element.
Pulp Fiction.
Fifth Element is good too.
The Fifth Element is good. My favorite part is the Roddy Red or whatever his name is. The one that Chris Tucker plays, like, come on, baby. You know what I'm
Oh
talking
yeah.
about? All right, though.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie, I have to sure.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's my wife's
What?
like dad's favorite movie.
Oh really?
Yeah. But let's
Oh,
get into it. That way I ain't keeping this going too long. You know
all
what I
right,
mean?
let's go. Let's go. Okay. So I'm gonna give a little background story and then we can just break it down from there. And let's go. So basically how Silent Hill it is, basically how it shows up in like the game or movie. So you're basically like imagine that you're like driving down like a quiet mountain road and then your radio starts crackling with static and then a thick fog begins to roll over. I guess you'd say roll over or come over the pavement. And then like your
If
street
it's
lights were up. Go ahead.
if it was me nowadays, I'm not driving down the road and my stuff's gonna start doing static. It might start skipping because I'm on Apple Music or some shit. You know what I mean?
Uh,
But you talk about static, I'm like, I don't even know how to imagine that anymore because I never listen to radio hardly anymore at all.
uh,
Yeah,
that's all it's all Sirius XM, so you ain't getting me.
facts.
But then your
Good
Sirius
luck,
XM
Pyramid
going
Head.
static, but then
Good luck, Pyramid Head. I'm listening to Bo Burnham on repeat. You ain't gonna get
good
me.
for that. Yeah, you gonna get mine. But basically, the welcoming of Silent Hill is, the radio crackles with static. You have a thick fog rolling over the pavement. Your street lights appear ahead, barely visible, through the mist because it's so thick. And then a faded welcome sign emerges, eventually miles into the fog and the static sounds. And it's basically a sign that says, "Welcome to Silent Hill."
It
That's
should say "Welcome to Hell." It sounds like to me instead of
it's
"Welcome to
just
Silent
this is
Hill."
just the tip of the iceberg.
Maybe
Oh,
it's Silent Hill.
iceberg. Yeah, maybe the
Welcome to
tip of
Silent
Silent Hill.
Hill.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Silent
facts.
Hill.
Yeah.
So basically, it's a normal town. It's a normal place with no restaurant, schools, churches, hospitals, a lake, and roads that appear on maps. It's a normal town. People live there. People have worked there. Children, go to school. But yet somehow Silent Hill becomes one of the most infamous. I guess you can say infamous or most brought about horror towns and horror fiction, really. And there's a lot of things that people don't realize that Silent Hill isn't a haunted like in like traditional use. It's more like it isn't like cursed like a haunted house. It isn't overrun by monsters all the time. In fact, like if you ask
No
two different
ghosts.
people, go ahead.
So there's no like ghosts or whatever.
No,
Oh dang! I was hoping for Casper. Ooh, type shit.
no.
Anyway.
It's like, oh, when we brought up cats for the group of ghosts, get run into them in Brookhaven Hospital.
Right. There's you're just like, I need stim packs. You're like, sorry, but I don't got any, and then you just lose whatever pants
They
you have
just
left because they won't
lose
wear
the
them.
pants you got, yeah. Or so now you got me thinking about Casper. Anyways, so in fact, if you ask two different people if they saw Silent Hill, you're gonna get two completely different answers because Silent Hill has so many different interpretations of playing it or watching it. And so tonight we're not going to be talking about heroes and villains. We're not going to be like talking about the game themselves really, but we're going to talk about mainly the town really, so people get a full understanding what the town is.
So basically, you're trying to paint a picture as if basically you're recounting a story, or kind of like in a way of like where you actually went to the town. It's not like trying to tell us what happened to James in the game and spoil it for people.
Yeah. Uh, Basically, because there wouldn't be the games or if it wasn't for the town itself. But I kind of want to like discuss all that and like talk about like stuff in the games, but not the story of the game
Right. We
because
don't want to spoil it for anybody
I don't want
because
to spoil it for anybody.
right,
But
right, right.
they're very good.
Also, if you're in the comments, if you want to spoil it, that's your choice, but don't do that if you can.
Yeah, trying to explain. But basically, Silent Hill is a place where history, tragedy, and like spirituality and something basically impossible have become permanently like intertwined. That's the story. Like, well, this is the story of Silent Hill basically. And I'm just gonna break that down.
So is Silent Hill like in a specific place? Like you would be like, oh, it's Silent Hill, Virginia or something? Or is it like basically Silent Hill is like more of a psychological thing that comes to you wherever you are? So if say you wanted to be in Silent Hill or you come across Silent Hill because you live in LA, is it going to be in LA, like up in the Hollywood Hills, like just in your mind? Or is it like specifically like if I wanted to go to Silent Hill, theoretically, it would be in like Silent Hill, Virginia or someplace like that?
So actually, Silent Hill is based on a true town called Centralia, Pennsylvania, and that's basically a whole nother like we could have a little episode about it. But basically, Centralia, it's in Centralia, Pennsylvania. It's one of America's most haunted towns, and it's been haunted and run about since 1960s really. And they took the story of that and just renditioned it to like a big horror. Just made it like a big horror thing, which is cool.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What's so scary about Centralia that like would basically be able to be a thing that you could turn into a game? Like, is it because obviously you said it's like haunted, but like what do you mean like haunted? Like, why is it haunted? Did something bad happen there or something?
Because the amount of deaths that had happened there. So there was a coal mine that had started in there. I don't know. It's like early 1960s. Don't give me my numbers or dates wrong.
Hmm.
But a huge coal mine. It was a very small town. I don't know, maybe a couple thousand. Coal mine in there. It was it basically started a fire in that coal mine,
Hmm.
and it killed thousands of people. And due to all of the the fire and the smoke, it uh, affected people in their lungs, killing them who already lived there. Not so many, but it did. And anybody who was in the coal mine working there, they died. And extended family members, not family members, coworkers outside of the coal mine, they died from it too.
Golly, this sounds almost like
And
a Silent Hill Auschwitz. Almost goodness,
dude,
just
it's
without the
crazy.
prisoners or the Jewish people, I guess. Everybody's getting burned up,
Everybody getting
dying from
burned up.
inhalation and
Didn't even
whatnot.
want to. Um,
I mean,
sorry.
if yeah, no, you're good. But go ahead.
Yeah, so the coal mine fire, which is the craziest part to me, is that the coal mine fire is still actively burning.
Hopefully, they let me roast marshmallows if I ever go visit. You know what I mean?
Good luck. I mean, it's like private property now.
I guess they're spooky marshmallows. Maybe I'll have to go to Halloween. You think they'll have like a? I don't know. Maybe they. I'm trying to think. I'm like, what would they? What do you think a s'mores made on the Silent Hill coal fire would taste like? I feel like it would taste like despair. I don't even know what despair tastes like, but I feel like that was what it would taste like.
Tastes like despair and ash
Or ass.
or ass. Yeah,
Despair, ash, and ass, huh? Goodness gracious.
yeah. There you go. That's really it. Um.
Goodness.
So yeah. So at we'll end it right here. But basically, so the roads are so cracked up and still from the fire that all throughout the roads of the town, the smoke from the fire is just going through the roads.
That's
It's
crazy.
it's been burning. I don't know. You can say let's say 1960. What is that? 66 years
Damn.
still burning. I don't know. It's weird, but basically, due to the amount of deaths and the unknown like events that happened there from the fire, it's pretty haunted. So it's like now it's abandoned and people get go there just because of the games and stories told of Silent Hill.
Dang. That
Yeah,
sucks that it's like banned for you to go there because then I can't roast my spooky
there's
s'more.
I from what I saw, I did a little bit of research. There's like 10 people that still live there.
Really?
Yeah.
You think they live their own version of Silent Hill every day? Like they're just like going around just
Can you
maybe
imagine?
that's gotta be awful.
It's basically like Chernobyl. Can't bring any new visitors. The ones who still live there are still
Huh.
living there.
That is
And speak like Chernobyl, there's like only 5 people or 3 people who live there, and they're really really old.
crazy.
So it's
I'd have
probably
to.
the same thing.
That's wild. The amount of
Yeah,
there's only a few people who
yeah.
live in there. Could you imagine? You're like, I'm buying a house here back in like the '50s. And you're like, this is a good investment. Now you're
That's
nowadays
why.
you're old. You're like, it's not a good investment.
No,
It's
that's
like nobody
terrible.
wants it. Nobody can buy
Nope.
it.
And then there would be no reason for me to go, you know what? I'ma stay. Even after the fire, they go, I'ma stay. This is a good spot.
Maybe
It's quiet now. No one's gonna come bother me, but it's haunted. I got friends. Let's stay.
if you're there long enough, you can like talk to the ghost and they leave you alone. Maybe you're just like, yeah, I'm not leaving, so you're just gonna have to get used to me being here. So like, if you're
Yeah,
gonna
after
come,
you leave or I leave.
it's like if you're gonna come, at least bring some fucking snacks or something like potluck style. Like if you're
At
coming to
least,
hang out at the house, like
yeah, let's
after
have
a
a
while,
party or
you just like wake up and you're like, Ethel, I'm trying to brush my teeth. Please leave me alone. Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Shit.
Oh my
All right,
goodness.
so I guess we can get started. So, like, before there was the town, like, before there was any bit of establishments, before basically before the churches, hospitals, or even before the fog, the overtaking of the creepy atmosphere. Really,
Hmm.
it was just basically simply land, and the region was it's surrounded by this lake called Toluca Lake. And
Toluca.
basically, Toluca Lake was considered sacred by the native people who lived there, right? And obviously, like according to like legend stories and older stories, this land wasn't. They say
Like a burial ground or something? Or no?
basically, I mean, they're saying like the land wasn't evil. It was believed to be how you want to say it, like spiritual power, so not evil, really. And so some legends described it as like the area where like dreams felt more vivid, and that's why they thought like the land was evil because they were uncomfortable with it, didn't know really what it was. And so other believes that like the boundary between like the physical world and the spirit world were unusually thin, like they were like it felt too close.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Does that make sense? And so
It's,
like, go ahead.
it sounds like there might have been something leaking out of the area where the mines were, and these people are hallucinating. That's what this
Well, this
sounds like.
this is before the mines. This is like native land.
I mean, there was. Yeah, I guess you're right. I was gonna say, I was like, well, if whatever they're mining is still there, though, right? Like before ever they ever get there, so they have to find something to mine. So maybe there's something in the ground like,
Basically,
that
maybe there's
causes
just
people to
something wrong
hallucinate.
with that area anyways, that's what they're saying. It just wasn't a good spot.
I don't know. Maybe there's like a toxic spring that feeds that lake or something. Then
Just a, just like Chernobyl is basically a huge. I get like Chernobyl. I compare the Chernobyl a lot because it's just a land like area that's just not good at all, even beforehand. But so like whether these stories were like true or just simply like cultural beliefs isn't like not entirely clear.
oh,
Basically,
they kind of
same
bleeds
thing as the
together.
stairs.
Yeah, that like the stairs. Yeah,
Uh, I mean, Silent Hill could be a creepy pasta, really, or Centralia, Pennsylvania could be a creepy pasta to an extent.
that's true. I
Really.
mean, I could definitely see like somebody being like a mine worker who didn't actually die, or maybe something like that, or maybe like you could tell it from the perspective of like right after the fire started and like all the people started dying, and so you like kind of like talk about the disappearances and it would got to go through and people would
Yeah,
because that's how like the creepypasta works where basically like we explained last time where you end up basically somebody starts an account and then everybody else kind of feeds into it. It gets worse and worse until
and
you end up with a whole
translate it
bunch of
or
stuff.
gathers their own experience from it and then spreads it and then
Right.
creepy pasta. Really.
So Silent Hill ended up being a creepypasta. That'd be wild.
I mean, kind of. I didn't think of it that way, but kind of like so the Centralia, Pennsylvania became such a creepy pasta that I mean now it's a huge horror franchise. They took their own like take on the town itself and just created into this huge like horror fiction town, which is cool. But you know, there's like one idea and like ideas appear again and again, but from the experiences, the land was remembered as from every emotion, every death, every prayer, to every nightmare because they thought it was evil. It claims that they claim that it lingers in that specific area, and so they say if you've ever like walked into an abandoned building and somehow like felt like uncomfortable without knowing why, that's like imagine that sensation like across like that entire town. That's like that's Silent Hill basically before the history ever begins. So there's basically already that urge and feel, not urge, that like discomfort and feel around that land before Silent Hill history ever even begins.
Wait, so does the land only remember bad stuff, or like, do you get to relive like good memories? So like, if you had like a birthday party with your kid at the local Chuck E. Cheese in Centralia or Silent Hill if they have one, for some reason, do you get to remember that every time, like the good time you have with your kids, or is it like only if
So
something bad happened?
I will say I will confirm that because and this is only brought up ever as far as positivity stuff on the last Silent Hill movie, the third one. No
Hmm.
spoilers, but James goes back to good memories when he previously lived there before he left. So
Mm.
the answer is yes.
Oh, that's good. So I guess I get to see Chucky at the cheese again and eat that cardboard ass pizza. Crazy work.
Memories may still be positive there, but nothing will be there once you leave, basically.
Damn,
Yeah.
I wanted to play skee ball. Some shit.
You can play skee ball if you want, it'll just be you. It'll be you.
Me and Pyramid Head. You think I could beat Pyramid Head in pinball? Or not pinball, I mean skee ball?
I don't know, he's there like 24/7. He probably has done everything at least once.
That's true.
Be pretty close. Maybe pretty close.
Dang.
So I guess now we can move on to like where civilization arrives. So
So you're saying basically after all the natives finally leave?
yeah, so I had to do research on this part because I didn't even know this background part of Silent Hill. I wanted to dig to like some things I didn't know really.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well,
but
it's
yeah,
always
so
good
eventually,
about, like
yeah,
the
and
podcast,
this
we get
is
to learn
pretty
something.
cool because
Yeah.
they don't tell this in any games or movies at all. So
Right.
it's nice to have a deeper understanding and bigger background for the games or movies, anyways. And it's another thing that why I'm doing it because like a lot of people who love it don't know about this stuff. So it's cool to introduce a different side and more information to it.
Right.
So yeah, so basically civilization arrived. The settlers, like many frontier towns, Silent Hill was built on hope. The Toluca Lake was used and offered for transportation. Uh, the forest provided lumber around Silent Hill, and the Toluca Lake, how they used to transport wood on the water, like in early civilization days, same way.
Like a fairy or
Um,
whatever? Yeah.
yeah, basically, yeah, because the lake was it's you know this the lake is huge. It's massive.
Yeah, I mean, in the
So
game it is at least, and
yeah,
so in the
well,
movie as well.
yeah,
But
it's massive, and the mining operations they brought workers and businesses followed in due to more work and everything else. Families settled, schools opened. Basically, a whole town was being built around the lake, and it was growing. So Silent Hill looked like every other growing town, but beneath the you could call ordinary appearance, for some odd reason, darkness slowly accumulated. Disease swept through the population.
I feel like I
They
had to
don't.
sneeze. Oh, go ahead. My bad. Sorry, I didn't
I
interrupt
was
you.
wondering why you're making a face. I was
I
like,
felt like I had to sneeze, and I was like trying to get your attention so if I did sneeze, it wasn't like gonna distract you, and I did it anyway, and I ended up not
"Oh, no, you're
sneezing. So,
good.
oh
No, you're
well.
good."
I was like, I know
uh,
I looked crazy on the camera, so I was like, "Ooh, I'm dying."
no, you're good. Um, Well, yeah, ordinary appearance. So basically, darkness for some reason, the darkness that lured in that area started slowly accumulating and like going over this town. And basically, evil was coming in. Disease swept through the population. They never broke down the diseases, whatever. But if it's like early civilization, I wouldn't doubt if it was like the flus or like
Like smallpox, shit like that.
smallpox or
Yeah.
like stuff from the coal mines active, so lung like any lung disease going down there.
Well,
um
there's like also, you end up if you're digging into like the dirt with like all the soil and everything, sometimes you have things that are like stuck in the soil from like, 100,000 years ago or whatever, when the cavemen may have been there
Yeah,
or whatever.
like for real, like unknown substances, just and it just became such it became so aggressive, and basically like people were just dying, and then at that point violence became more common, and executions because of the violence of these people were carried out basically every day, and they were doing them, out around outside of the Toluca Lake, and so eventually they had to build a prison. So
Oh.
yeah, then that from the games, the
Oh, so
prison's
that's like
built.
actually okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah, the prison. That's why the prison was. So it's a very old prison. That's
That's
probably
one of my least favorite parts of that game, other than
it's the
cute
longest
the
part.
little cute part. Because like, I mean, the prison was kind of fun, but it also was like a pain in the butt because you have all those little like the
The
little
different
mannequin
doors,
thing. Well, you have the mannequins that jump off the walls and they crawl all over the place and everywhere, and it's like scary, but it's not really scary. It's more one of those like you're like, where's it gonna jump out at? Because it's like I don't want to like waste my
you hear
bullets.
the
Yeah, it's like, ugh.
yeah,
But
they're fun. But yeah,
so
so yeah, go
so
ahead.
one thing I was thinking while you were talking, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, my bad. But
Go ahead.
um,
This is what we're for. We're talking. We're forming. We're
that's true. But
just chilling.
But no, what I was saying, so you were talking about how like the land remembers stuff earlier, and then you said it kind of felt like that all of a sudden the evil got worse in the town whenever people started coming in and basically ruining the land and bringing evil with them. So do you think that maybe the land feeds off of like whoever, or not really whoever, but whatever happens around the area? So basically, if they had came and been, treating the area very nice and they never like corrupted the waters, cut down the trees and stuff, maybe it would have been fine. But because that's my theory,
Mm,
is maybe basically if they may have come in and tried to treat the land like the
I
natives
I
did.
would I would say yes. So like an example, a, a lot of people don't know it. Not going into the game. So like James, he was fighting his own enemies
Right. I mean, it's in
because of
your.
what he had done. So
It's all
that's what.
psychological.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So I would say yes. The land feeds off whatever who or what is there. So Silent Hill basically is like your own town basically, and
Mhm.
how you are and what you like do coming in or in that town. It feeds off that. And basically, it's throwing it back at you.
Ah. So so yeah, like, I guess that theory kind of stands
Yeah.
then,
So it's basically yes.
because what we were talking about before is like like the normal native
Oh man, I
living.
can't spoil it. So in the third movie, it that answers that question perfectly. So I will keep this down to a minimum. So there's basically a board of people who run the town, Silent Hill,
Hmm.
and they were so greedy and so they they weren't good people
That sounds like
that
Brooklyn.
they
Sounds like Brooklyn. That's what it sounds like. There was like a couple group of parents who was like, my kids are the only one on the basketball team because I got the money.
because I got the money. Exactly. But so basically because that group of people with their intentions were evil, the town eventually I'll say eventually like did their works and they suffered. They it
I
didn't
mean,
end well for them.
they basically paid for their crimes, more or
Yeah,
less.
basically. Yeah.
Crimes against
So
the land. Yeah.
the answer to your question is yes.
Well, that's what
Yes,
I'm saying is,
it's
yeah, like,
very, very much true.
what's what I was saying is like before, like how,
Hence
well, like the
hence
normal. Oh, go ahead, my bad.
no, hence why I think like they didn't say it, but the natives left because it was just so unfamiliar evil or uncomfortable feeling they just left it, just leaving it alone.
Well, it's like, well, like the natives kind of lived with the land. They didn't live on the land, if that makes sense. So basically,
Yeah, that's
how
fair.
with like early civilizations, like what we're talking about with like all the pioneers and all that coming in, they're coming down to like they're basically not trying to live with the land and being like, okay, well, I'll take things from the trees if they have fruit or whatever, but I'm not going to cut the tree down. They're cutting the tree down to make houses and stuff. So
Yeah,
basically, the
exactly.
land is like, all right, you're out here bothering me. You're gonna get this back. So you cut my tree down. I'm gonna cut your wife down. You know what I mean? Like, I don't
Yeah,
know. Like, that's
yeah,
crazy work. But heck yeah,
yeah. So
doesn't sound like a fun place. No. Mm-mm.
no. I mean, yeah, I'll get back to that. I would like to go see it though. Like
I mean,
that I
yeah,
mean
yeah.
it would strike so much curiosity that as someone who you gotta go, gotta go.
I think it'd be cool to experience like the aura of the place at least one. You know what I mean? Like you go like get close enough to it. Maybe not go inside town, but like if you got to like the area where it
So
says like don't enter, you kind of feel the
yeah,
like ugh.
so the main road that goes in there is Highway 61. It's called 61, and it's called the Graffiti Road because you can't go in. So miles, dude, it's like just graffiti of people who have visited there
Or
because it's
basically
like blocked
just
up
being like I
entire.
was
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
Uh
it's called Graffiti Road, and yeah, because you can't. It's all cracked up and everything, just like it, just going all the way into the town, and yeah, so it's got that like abandoned like right miles before you even go in.
that's
So,
crazy.
yeah, that's kind of cool.
I guess you could say the town went beyond its borders at that point. It's like started bleeding into everything else. That's crazy. That's probably
Yeah,
what's wrong with the country now. It done bleed. And now we're all in Silent Hill, and I'm bleeding into the country. No politics here, but you know what I'm saying, just in general. You know what I mean?
yeah, just in general. Yeah, we don't
right,
need none of that bullshit in here.
right.
Uh, prison, right?
Oh yeah, we
So
were talking about the prison. Yep. Go ahead.
yeah, full loop, people, full loop. We're
Right,
here, but we'll get there. We're here. Uh, he said,
digging out that rabbit hole.
uh,
yeah, just.
I had a song come in my head. I can't say it anyway. So basically, you know what I'm talking about.
I felt it.
Um, basically, so the prison was eventually built. The walls, uh, the walls, is another one thing for prison. Witnessed decades of suffering. Some prisoners, deserved their fate. Others probably didn't. But history, like, rarely remembers the difference between the town of different evil. So evil was evil, basically. Even if like basically just like in normal society, like evil, like it doesn't pick its differences of like wrong. Wrong is wrong.
Mm.
So yeah, but as the history was remembered for the differences uh of growing and the evil, the town continued to grow still. Eventually the hospital was built, Brookhaven Hospital. It's a very, very popular spot in a couple of the Silent Hills, which we'll
It can't
talk
be that
about later.
popular. I could tell you if it had a Google review, bro. Like I, from where being in the games, from playing the games, them nurses do not have good bedside manner. I'm just telling you. Like she come at you with that thing. You're like I was only here for like a shot for the flu. Now you out here trying to remove my toe. That's crazy
I ain't
work,
trying
bro.
to rub my toe, yeah.
It's like 0 stars. Do not recommend. You know what I mean, they also
Brookhaven
didn't have.
Hospital, don't go there.
Well, I guess in the food court, the Demon Taco Bell is probably pretty good. You know what I mean? That's from last time. Remember that?
The Demon Taco Bell lives on. Yeah.
I mean, this sounds like something that the demons would like. You know what I mean? Like the Silent Hill.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
just
have a
like
great time.
they
Really
got
piss
to
their appetite.
right. That's like where they keep their summer home. Yeah, I mean, the Silent Hill.
Yeah. Yeah,
like
so I would pass on the food. I'd pass on the service. I'm
I
good.
said, 0 stars. I'm good. Google review. Yelp. Nope.
Yelp is nope.
Right. Just one word. Nope. They like you want stars. I'm not
No.
even doing stars. No stars at all. And just
Yeah, I'm not
one
even
little
gonna consider
nope.
zero, just
All
NA.
caps.
Not applicable.
all caps. Nope.
Is it not applicable or applicable?
I thought it was applicable. We all speak weird.
Like, you say applicable or
Not.
applicable?
I think it applicable.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know. I'm weird. You know what I
I
mean?
don't I don't.
I've
It
heard it
didn't
said
sound right
different
when I said it.
ways. I've heard it said different ways. I don't know.
I don't know. Brookhaven Hospital, yes, is a very, very important part of the Silent Hill games and the movies. Um, so that was built. Churches were being built, just more spiritual and needed some weapons and belief in the town to help. And then, still as they were growing, the children were still out laughing in playgrounds. And, life continued, but yet tragedy left like another mark on the land as it was still going. Even like, even if the old native stories were true. And then, like, the ground itself was remembering because of the stories told and what was going on was bringing up more belief of what was being told. So you know, that was striking the citizens of that town. I brought up Toluca Lake. We can talk about that first. Do you have anything else before we start on Toluca Lake or?
Um, not at the moment. You never know. It comes to me. I don't know. It's kind of
Okay.
like after you eat the demon Taco Bell, that should haunt you. It'll just pop up on you.
And then bam,
Blam! Idea. You know what I mean? So,
boom.
you think they let you swim in Taduka Lake? Not you're talking about the lake. You like we get that. I gotta get my pontoon out there. Just with a little like tube you could ride on the back.
Do you think that there'd be any fish in there
Spooky fish.
at this time?
A spooky
Now
fish thing is crazy.
pre-evil and everything else, maybe.
I
Can you
think there's
imagine
fish now.
spooky fish in the lake?
They're probably mutated and weird by like the evil or whatever. But there's probably fish in there now because like you know how like things are when you leave them for a while, like birds land in the water and they leave little eggs or whatever and whatnot. And then
Yeah.
there's fish. Like there's probably
Yeah.
small fish, maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
Like evil piranhas from Silent Hill. That'd be like it's just like the bone fishes, like dead corpses of fishes, going. Let me guess, is Jerry calling you?
It was.
He was calling me too.
I'll get
We'll
back to him in a
continue.
minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll see it and be like, "What? They sold my car."
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
We
But,
did.
like,
We saw it.
it-
If you see this, Jerry, we saw it. We love you and whatnot. We'll get back to you in a second. Say hi in the comments.
That's the thing. Yeah. But yeah, I guess like dead corpses of fish swimming in there. That would be a cool, interesting like experience because like in certain parts of different games, you do have to go across the lake. So if they had some kind of like creatures to fight you or go after you while you're in the lake, that would have been cool.
That kind of reminds me of like how in Resident Evil when you're in like I think it's the 8th game maybe, where you have to like go across the lake and
Yeah,
there's like that
8th
weird
game.
like monster guy or whatever. He's like
Yeah.
a big fish like.
That's
Yeah.
8. Yeah, that's 8.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
you also did that in 4 too, where there was like a big. In Resident Evil 4, you had the whole thing where you had like shoot the big fish and then like you're like driving the boat around.
And like driving the boat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, I feel like Silent Hill fish would be cool.
Yeah.
So
think-
basically, go ahead.
I don't know. I was thinking, I don't know. I'm trying to think of what the fish might even look like. Would it be like, you think it'd be like nice, one of the ones that help you in the game, or you think it's just all gonna be just flesh eating like big piranha?
Name one creature that helps you in the game.
I mean, yeah, you're right. I don't know. I don't think there's anything in the game that ever helps. Like they're all mean, but you kind of deserve it when you find out what the story is. You're like, yeah, you kind of deserve it.
Yeah, I mean, once you get in there, you're kind of too late to back down from your own shit, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, any help, you got yourself in a walkie-talkie. That's the only thing that helps you in that daggum game, and weapons, of course.
You said
but-
there's a walkie-talkie. Who the hell are you talking to if it's just you? Are you able to talk to
static.
somebody?
The static from
Oh, you're right. The whole like, so they can tell you that yeah, okay. I was
yeah,
thinking,
like
I'm like, what?
the radio static from driving into the town.
Yeah,
It-
yeah.
So the town, what it does, I'm saying, this, it messes up with the frequencies, really.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have, for most people who knows this, if you're in the games or movie, if you're near or a certain creature in the game or movie, then it messes up the frequencies, basically as a warning saying, hey, something's about to fucking happen.
Unless it's the
Something's
bugs.
something's about to go down.
At least
Whether
it's
it be a bug or Pyramid Head or any other big creature, Abstract Daddy, which that's another story, which that's a good story. So whether it be another creature of some sorts,
bugs are the worst because those are the ones where you like freak out because you're like, I got one bullet, and I'm like, I know it's another nurse or it's like a horde of those little acid spitters,
dude,
and
I
then
cannot tell you
immediately it's the
how
bug,
many
and you're like,
times, how many times whether you'll be in a room and there's a hallway
Mm-hmm.
and you don't know if there's a bug in the room with you or like a nurse right outside the door.
Half the time I just take the chances and just run out swinging or shooting. I just
Oh,
hope for the
God.
best.
So I'm looking everywhere as I can, scared shitless, trying to look for a bug first. But then I know if I can't find a bug, it's right there. And I just gotta open the door and either look, like turn the camera and look both ways, or I'm just gonna have to open the door and brace myself and it's gonna be right there.
Facts.
Yeah, so the playing with the walkie-talkie gives it more of a creepy experience because playing without it, I feel like it's
I mean, I think I would rather have the walkie-talkie or like the radio or whatever it
Yeah,
is, because
good
like
point.
without it, I'm not finna walk out. I mean, I would. I guess I would,
Yeah, you
because
would.
without the warning, I wouldn't know if it was anything out there. I just roll around, especially if they're quiet. Like I'm screwed. Like if I heard it roaring on the other side, I'm like, okay, you
or
know
like
what?
just the footsteps.
Yeah, because like you never know. It
Which-
could have been another person that's in Silent Hill, because like you run into like Mary or whatever, or not Mary, but run into Maria and all the other
Yeah,
ones.
Maria and
Yeah,
Ed. As y'all know, we talk about Silent Hill 2 a lot because that's my most played, and
that's the only one I ever
Mason
played.
Mason, yeah, it's also one of Mason's ever played. And plus, I don't know, it's probably one of my favorite ones.
It's pretty good. I don't
That's
want to say
pretty good.
it's not as good as Resident Evil, but it's pretty
Okay. That's another one. Come
good.
back with the Resident Evil topic and we'll talk about
I'm telling you, and the stance won't change. All right.
it. Okay. All right. Okay. And moving on with the Silent Hill. So in Silent Hill 2 has Toluca Lake, and so does Homecoming, Downpour, and a couple of other ones. So Toluca Lake's a big pinnacle in the Silent Hill franchise, and so basically it's like a centerpiece of the town. It's like because the town was built around it, like it a lot of it was around Toluca Lake, and so a beautiful like basically an impossible calm lake before any civilization, and but beneath those waters as life went on, accidents happened, disappearances, unexpected deaths, and then the legends of these like the stories of the evil around there. They believe that speak of boats drifting back without passengers, so like random disappearances. We're claiming that those were the works of the evil there, and like fishermen were hearing voices like over quiet still water, basically, and shapes really moving before their faces of the surface. I mean, there's like all the same phenomenon of the same thing, basically, like whether those stories were true or the not
Being a
true.
serial killer would have been mad easy.
Yeah, I was about to say like the power of this, like the stories were pretty pretty moving because these people were really convinced and like believe that there was something here and something going on. And so basically these myths have power, and basically in this town, it was becoming more and more surrounded by a mystery, which the water often symbolizes memory. Things sink beneath the surface, hidden, forgotten, but truly gone. And perhaps that's exactly what Toluca Lake represents, not just water, but basically everything that the town refuses to forget,
Sounds
you
like
know?
uh, sounds like a really dark version of Moana.
Yeah, it's not a very type of place to go fishing or swimming.
Pyramid Head's just Tafiti. Somebody needs to return his heart and it'll be fine.
To return his heart to be all right.
Yeah.
Give him his wallet back, it'd be okay. He's just looking for
Facts.
his wallet.
He was looking at the batteries for his radio. That's why it keeps making the static. He's like
he's
the
just
battery.
trying.
He's like, come on.
He's he's looking for AAA.
Right.
Yeah, the hard little ones to find. All right, so now we can move on to the fog. Really,
Oh, the fog.
yeah, the creepy roll over the fog that almost every I say almost, but every movie in Silent Hill game, this is a huge pinnacle of Silent Hill. So the first thing you describe about Silent Hill is basically the fog, not any blood, creatures, monsters, or abandoned buildings. Like the fog is a huge pinnacle point of the Silent Hill and one of the main things remembered by, whether it be the blankets that it covers the streets, the swallowing the whole buildings, and it turns the whole familiar roads basically into an endless maze. It feels like you're isolated, and it makes like distances impossible to judge because it's just so thick. And you know, is the fog is it fog weather, or is it something else entirely, like a whole nother entity taking over, not knowing what it is, making it to where it gives it this whole supernatural energy, just becoming visible, really.
Have you heard the
And
theory?
go ahead.
You heard that theory where they say that the fog is like an alien? Have you heard that?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, I read this thing. It was like somewhere. I don't know if it was on Facebook or Reddit or where, but like it was like a thing where basically it says something about the fog is like an alien, kind of like it, sort of, where
Hmm.
basically it's in the town, and basically everything that happens is like it feeds off of you, but like it also keeps others from like messing with you. So it
Yeah.
kind of, I guess, protects you in a way, but only for its own gain, and
Mhm.
basically it messes with your mind because of how the fog is, and like you said, it like eats the buildings and everything, or it seems to eat the buildings. That's basically what I was saying. It was like it like keeps all this stuff together because it's grown so big in the town that it like consumed everything, and then
Yeah.
basically continues to it uses like its supernatural powers or whatever to be able to make your brain think that it's all messed up so you never are able to get out.
Yeah, so that's fun because I was just about to say how people actually believe that like it's like a supernatural like energy just becoming visible
Hmm.
of the town. So, basically others were thinking that it's like border between like reality and another plane of like existence, which basically is if you see like Silent Hill, like it whether it be a a rainstorm in some of the games or a church horn changing it alters its reality into another existence, causing it to be basically all evil. And you can say some disease because of like the acid spitters or whatever, but it becomes
Hmm.
it's I wouldn't say it becomes its true form, but basically the Silent Hill has like became like its whole version of what it's like altering to be really. And so like perhaps the fog isn't hiding the town. Perhaps it's like it's protecting us from like protecting the people seeing what's really there, really.
Hmm.
So, and because like when it grows thicker, like I said, the reality begins to behave differently. Whether like roads end and cut off, or like the buildings change completely. Like it will be the same building, but it's basically a building in hell. And then the time is like unreliable, which means time's endless, which it's basically nighttime in some games 24/7 while you're in the other reality alternative, form. And then some other games it's night and day, but that's that's just their own interpretations really on it. And it's almost as if the town itself is deciding that what you're allowed to see, whether it wants you to see all of its form or to see bits and pieces. It basically makes that decision yourself.
It
So it's
kind of
kind of
seems
crazy.
like the fog, if you think of it in a way of like an entity or whatever, it kind of feels like that it learns you kind of and like figures out what either one scares you the most so it can make you pay for what you've done or whatever, or it kind of like, for like people I guess that maybe not as evil or didn't do as bad of things, maybe it gives you like a less hard time, even though you still have to deal with it because you obviously if you're there, there's a reason you're there, but at the
Yeah.
same time, like maybe whatever that reason was wasn't as bad. So that's kind of like
Mhm.
a, I guess it's like I don't know a way of like choosing how bad things are going to be. So like I said, because that means that if it is an entity, it's not necessarily evil. It just basically bounces off whatever it decides that it needs to be.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's how like we were just talking about how um basically the town like sees and feeds off your like evil or who you are. And that's kind of what I've always thought was a unique thought by how like it decides what they want you to see
Hmm.
and how also like the fog could be also protecting. So that question you brought up earlier about how is there some good? Well, potentially there could be or is if you look at it that way. But as a us, we're not going to think that. No way in hell we're going to thinking, hey, maybe this fog is trying to keep me from seeing something, or
No,
maybe
you're
it's
just
telling me
like
not to go that way, or he's
right.
like, it's this fog, or hey, this is kind of creepy shit.
You just end up basically it bothers you to the point you're like, man, I just want it to leave so that way I can figure out where to go, like to get out of here.
Yeah. But yeah,
But
I mean, we,
that's not
we
how it
saw and
works.
see like it's so thick you can barely see 20 feet in front of you,
And then they want to make the game dark immediately after that, so it's like
and
even
then
worse.
immediately dark, and then it's worse, or it's pouring down rain.
Hmm.
Uh, any thoughts? Anything?
Um, I mean, about the fog, I guess like nothing. Basically, we kind of talked about everything that I could think of, at the moment. Like basically, we don't really know what it is. We just hope. I guess it kind of chooses what it needs to be. I guess I don't know. It's weird. It's like hard to
I
say. Like you know.
Yeah, because also maybe decide like I wonder if like the radio frequency it's only to people who are entering like Silent Hill.
Yeah, like I wonder,
Like
can you?
I wonder like if that's only like chosen for certain people, or if it's for all people who are in like this like form of Silent Hill, or if it's just like that in that town in general. But I'd say no, because in Silent Hill 3, the movie, basically Return to Silent Hill, the normal life pre pre true form of Silent Hill, it's fine. So
Mm.
the so kind of like that, the fog gets thicker when it's turning, and then once it turns, all the static and the frequencies are messed up in that way. But that's a cool another thought to
I think it feeds off
think about.
fear. You think it feeds off fear?
Yeah,
I'm saying, I'm
it
like,
does feed off
because it
fear.
always seems like, I mean, obviously we're trying to look at it in a way that's not just the games or movies, but obviously that's kind of everything we know about it, or like really, because it's not real.
Yeah, it's
So
yes,
like,
it's based. Yeah, it's a creepypasta really. So we're
like
going off from what we're just told and watched. Really, there's no full
right. So that's what I'm saying is
research
like,
book or paper on it.
right. So that's what I'm saying is like, like when you watch the movies or you play the game, it always seems like when the character starts having like a high anxiety moment, or where like say he's encountered something that causes him to remember something maybe he did or something he doesn't necessarily believe in his head that he did, but we know he did it, but like he doesn't as a character really remember it. So basically when he starts thinking about that kind of stuff, the fog, because it's almost always like whenever
Yeah. So
right before everything
uh,
starts to go bad, the fog gets real thick and then everything just starts to turn into shit real fast.
that's the same way. So in Silent Hill Homecoming, the guy's looking for his brother. That's the main point of this one. The guy, he comes back in town, and his brother's missing, and he's trying to look for his brother. Anyways, when he starts having flashbacks of his brother, he like gets into like this like thing in his head, and he starts like visually seeing his brother. Like Silent Hill's like playing images with his head, and he's actually like thinking he's seeing his brother, and he chases after this brother of his, and it leads to another bad time, basically, whether it be another creature or some detrimental thing he's about to face. And
Yep.
so it feeds off, like you're right, it feeds off with your fear, whatever you like deep stuff it can read from you in your history, really.
Energy, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that brings up to basically the next thing about Silent Hill, how it's like it's more than just a living town. It's basically it's I mean, I would say like it's like a haunted town, but it's not. It's completely different. Like Silent Hill, it's 100 different. Like we said, how it reacts, it changes, it adapts. You know, and one person may walk through an empty hospital, and then another may enter the same building and experience something completely different. Which is I think like one of the huge fascinations about this whole like Silent Hill is because like it's like it alters with different minds, and people get a whole nother reality grasp of it. And so doors appear, hallways vanish, but then some people, there may be doors disappearing, or there may be an endless hallway. You know what I mean?
It
And
kind of
entire
seems.
streets. Go ahead.
Isn't it weird how like a lot of things feed into like being kind of similar when it comes to stuff like that? Like how um in the way of like the back rooms does sort of the same deal, not in the way of like feeding off of you, but like how you might go through the back rooms in one way and go through it fine, but the next time you try to bring me back to it, there's a completely different
Yeah, it's
door.
altered. Yeah, it's a completely different
Yeah.
door or room.
Hmm. Or like maybe you
Ah,
don't run
that's
into the
pretty
monster this
cool. I didn't
time.
know. That's crazy. I
Yeah.
never made that connection before. That's like basically kind of like it's the same thing.
Well, it's not just like we said, it's like not. I guess it all comes with like the weird, creepy stuff that's like supernatural. Because like even with the stairs we talked about last time, um, most people recount to say that you don't see the same stairs ever again. Like if I saw the stairs one time, if I find them again, they may be a completely different shape or completely different. Like,
Like condition, like whether
yeah.
new or old and like
Mm-hmm.
abandoned. Yeah, that's that's
Isn't that
pretty
weird?
cool.
Everything's
Huh.
like I don't know, weird.
No, like because like you can tell like there's a connection like with like psychological horror being
Mm-hmm.
like a very popular like a take on horror, which is my favorite really as per se. Um, but yeah, so basically we're talking about the reality of changes. So it's but and so and per Silent Hill. big highlight of Silent Hill is roads becoming randomly inaccessible or randomly being cut off, and
Hmm.
like there's just no more road. There's just a drop straight to the coal mine, this burning hell, but coal mine of hell, really. And it's difficult to like not imagine the town as something alive. Like this town is actually breathing in life of something so more than like not in a like biological sense, but like aware, like in like it's responsive, it's listening, it's feeling what you're feeling, and it's like almost like a an organism like interacting with whoever like enters in it, and that's like the unsettling part. Like you're entering something that's a part of you, but not, but it also knows you, but you never said or done anything, and it just it the way like it latches onto you, it's insane. Like no one knows whether like Silent Hill creates these experiences or like it merely reveals what's already inside like who's ever human mind really,
Hmm.
whether it be like it'll show your fears or your uh past actions of evil or whatever it was. It brings out the worst in you and it shows it to you. And
Just thought of a
yeah,
good way
dude.
to manipulate it.
Yeah, like that's such an awesome like
I think I want to go to Silent Hill now. I just thought of a good thing. We gotta like,
well,
I gotta like, like convince myself that I'm afraid of like big booty goth girls. You know what I mean? And just that way, all of my whole like, my whole thing is just freaking, um, just Silent Hill being like, "Ooh, look at these goth girls!" Like just like you're like, "Oh no,
oh no, no,
don't sit on me."
oh no.
Hopefully for me, it'll be just a bunch of like goth versions of Jackie, just like, you know what I mean? Just
I wonder
maybe
what they
maybe for you it'll be just a bunch of males just like dressed up in goth attire. You want to read a book? Oh.
wanna read a book.
Oh goodness.
That's
That's
funny. Like other that's funny.
I hope that you can manipulate it. That's what I'm hoping. Or maybe I'm scared of money, so I'll just be rich my entire life, like in my head. It'll show me like me being rich. You know what I mean?
Just being rich and you just having access and fighting against money and you
Mm-hmm.
just taking it. Yeah, because that'll make you like I wonder how we can identify between truth and a lie on like based on fears. Really, there are a lot of questions to ask.
That's crazy. I mean, it just. I think that was what makes it so scary. Is because like it's not like. I mean, it's funny as what we were talking about just now is but like it's kind of weird where it makes you think of like and that's partially why it makes you unsettled about it is uh we have all these theories but not a lot of answers because it's meant to be like if you say so, like if you think so, like if you come here you'll find
Yeah,
out, like like. And that's also kind of why the games are all like, because the thing where we talked about before is how the comparison, and I keep comparing it to like Resident Evil because that's one of my favorite like scary games or whatever. But um, if you think about it in that way, like how the Resident Evil games work, you kind of follow like Leon as you go, and it's all the zombies or whatever, and
yeah,
it kind of it keeps telling a story where like whenever Silent Hill 2 is over, you might find out little pieces about James, but you'll never see James's story ever again. You know what I mean? Because like
no.
once James's story is either done or starts over or whatever that you want to say that the town has done to him, um, basically we don't know what's going on again. So I mean, James could be living this forever.
Or like the biggest one I'm going to show because I love it. So the first movie, Silent Hill, the woman goes and looks for her adopted daughter because her mom was deeply into Silent Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Like she grew up there and whatever. And you remember from watching it, but her mom goes there and looks for her adopted daughter. And at the end of the movie, she finds them and finds her. And the husband was a PI coming to look for him because they end up like just running away from him to go to this town to find answers. And he went to go look for him in this town, and they never saw each other, and they were in the same building at the same time
Oh yeah, I
and never
remember that
saw her.
because like
And eventually, even I'm not trying to spoil it, but eventually, even at the end, she was stuck in that reality of Silent Hill,
even
even
though she
after leaving.
technically is, yeah, even though technically she escaped, yeah,
Yeah.
which was weird
So
because
I mean,
like
that's that's I mean, like, there you go.
Well, it's because it
So,
is weird
like,
because like if
you
you think
you'll
about it,
you'll never like so, like, some of the stories, they will Silent Hill saying, like, it never forgets, and, like, it remembers.
so you're
So
saying like
that's
it does it infect you per
what it
se?
seemed it
Because like if
basically
you go by what it like in the movie, like you were talking about, where the lady leaves, she left Silent Hill, like truly, like she was gone away from Silent Hill back to her own home, which is not in Silent Hill, and she was able to see her house, but then she was like, "Hey, I'm over here," and they cannot see her because basically she's stuck or infected or whatever you want to say it with the Silent Hill. Maybe it's the fog just living in your body now. That's weird.
yeah. Yeah, so, like so, like, what you're saying with James, that sort of brought up, people will not know his story or other like, I thought you were trying to grab that coffee cup
Nope, it's not real.
just to be a
It just
joke. I was like,
it
"What
looks
the
it
heck?"
looks nice. No, it's not real.
I was like, "Okay." But yeah, so yeah, when you brought up the whole James, like being no one will remember his story and whatever, that's exactly what I thought because who knows? That could be the same thing with him as well. But you know, he was able to because he try not to spoil it, but he was able to. He lived in Silent Hill and then left his wife or girlfriend, and then he was fine. But because of that, he suffered like some like addiction and like he couldn't sleep. Like he had nightmares every time you go to sleep. So that created other addiction issues and problems for him. So that's his way of Silent Hill saying, "Hey, we're not gonna like we won't forget and we will remember." So it causes other issues for him, but she was stuck in the reality of Silent Hill, and he just had issues after leaving Silent Hill.
Mhm.
So it's like it's kind of like different ways of how it will affect and remember,
Right, right.
which is cool.
It's crazy.
And speaking of like never forgetting, so the buildings will never forget, which brings us to my next point. The buildings will never forget. Like
The building's the same in like every rendition of it. So like if you, I mean, I guess that's kind of part of the one thing we talked about. Like, so if me and you went separately, obviously, I'm will I experience the same Walmart or whatever that's there as you would, or Brookhaven or
yeah,
whatever it is,
yeah.
you know?
So all of the buildings and landmarks would be the same, but whether they have like the same reality
Yeah, I mean they shift like
will be
hallways
different.
and all that kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be different. But as far as the buildings and I guess construction on the the main building itself is the same. Yeah,
Okay, that makes sense.
yeah. But however they alter it towards the insides, that's basically up to Silent Hill itself, it seems.
So you were talking about like bad stuff that happened, like we were talking about the prison earlier. How there was a lot of like bad shit stuff that happened in the prison
hmm
with like the hospitals and other stuff like that. Do like did they basically did Silent Hill pick these specific buildings and stuff or like landmarks or whatever you want to call them in the town because of something that really bad that happened there that they have basically that it couldn't forget, so it keeps showing everybody that because they're like this was so bad that you need to remember too, and I'm gonna change
Yeah.
it so that you feel a
So
certain way.
yeah, that's exactly what I was going to talk about. Like so, like the prison or
Oh my
the
bad, I jumped
hospital.
ahead.
Oh no, no, you're good. It's perfectly fine. Like setting us on track, really. So we'll talk about the hospital. The last thing you brought up. So like the hospital, is a place that was built to heal, yet that was full of heavy grief, and whether it be like humans witnessing humanity at its weakest, whether it be death, fear, or you can even bring up, some birth or like hope, perhaps like nowhere collects more emotion than a hospital, really. So like all these emotion and experiences happen no more than the hospital. And then also, the prison, generations have passed through those, through the walls of the prison,
Hmm.
whether it be innocent, guilt, execution, or like desperate prayers or even final confessions. Like imagine like all that are remaining trapped within the stone. So like I was talking about how it has landmarks. So like I don't know if you've ever paid attention up to know. So like outside of like the buildings, they're like landmarks like like Texas historical placards, like history placards
Oh
everywhere.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's like that, but they have like placards outside of what like landmarks of what they are on the outside. And so basically, what it's saying, like all that is like trapped within the stone,
Mm.
whether it be landmarks of the schools, the churches. They all seem to be like basically from where they're at, like where they were. They're not like abandoned. They're basically just like it seems to be frozen in time, just like waiting for the next like whoever shows up. Really,
It's weird. I hope they don't have any
yeah,
gas stations there.
they do.
They have gas stations?
Yeah, so and
Remind me.
other
Yeah, go
than
ahead.
Silent Hill 2, like Silent Hill 1, you actually start in a gas station. Silent Hill Homecoming, you play in a gas station a lot, and that's really it as far as gas stations. I
Well,
don't
so
remember. Yeah, go ahead.
so what I was saying is like like sometimes if you're in a bind and you're driving down the road and you stop at a gas station, you do something absolutely horrendous to that bathroom. If it says Silent Hill, it's gonna remember that. It's gonna take out every bit
It's
of
gonna
that.
give you the shits for the rest of your life.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I don't want nothing to do with that. It's like I haven't eaten Taco Bell in 200 years because I've been stuck in this place, and you keep making me have diarrhea. I'm running out of dude wipes at this point. You know what I mean?
Dude
You heard.
wipes.
Oh, sneak peek, by the way, since we're talking about
Hey,
sponsorships,
speaking of sponsorships,
we're not gonna go through and do our little thing till probably the end, but we do have a sponsor. So if you guys are at this point in the video and you're kind of wanting something else to hold on for, wait for that because we have a code to give you that if you decide you want whatever we're talking about, that you'll find out later.
yeah, stick around for the discount code for our sponsor.
Yeah, but we'll talk about that closer to the end of the video.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, so like having the shits for
That would
as your
suck.
permanent, that would suck. I mean,
Uh,
you might as well just stay there. I mean, because
it's eternal like
it's
legs
eternal
asleep.
legs asleep.
You know what I'm talking about?
You
You
might
ever
as
like sit on the you ever sit on the can too long and you're
yeah,
like
and I have to like
your
your
whole
feet start to
everything just
tingling, this goes
yeah.
numb.
Now
Yeah.
you just have to deal with that forever. And there's like all these little acid spitters. You're like, bro, I'm just trying to wipe my ass, please.
Instead of like acid spitters, they're gonna be basically crawling with their ass, just spitting out at you. Instead of it being acid, it's gonna be shit spitting at you.
It looked like that
Uh,
thing we saw with Steve-O yesterday in freaking like
oh
in
no.
Jackass where you're just like the dookie just uh,
Yeah, for y'all who don't know, the newest Jackass, they had to take a laxative and play Twister,
that was bad.
and that was disgusting. I've never seen so much stool for
Man,
one
it
person.
was so the craziest part about that whole thing is like Steve-O was the one that was really like having all the issues where he was pooping a lot, and apparently the poop stinks so bad. Steve-O threw up from his own poop. Like I couldn't imagine. Maybe that's what
Yeah,
it's like being stuck in Silent Hill the entire time taking a dump. Like, could you imagine taking a dump for like however long that you get stuck and it just you gotta smell that
and then
stinking.
you gotta smell it, and then
So you
no.
just be like Steve-O just the whole time just fucking gagging. Oh.
God no. Torture itself, which means their own punishment from Silent Hill.
The only punishment you'd have is that you run out of toilet paper. So you gotta have an itchy butt for the rest of the game.
That you're just gonna be naked, really.
Just itchy butt, just t-shirt. Look like Winnie the Pooh walking around with a 2x4. You're just like, can I get some pants? The fog's like, no.
Yeah.
Oh
Mm.
man. I just hope it's not cold out in Silent Hill because you just could be soft the
It
whole
it
time.
looks cold.
You just could be soft the whole time. Everybody's gonna judge you.
Yeah, probably not though, because the town of eternal flame really basically is what you can call it.
It might be
Just
warm,
constant
yeah,
fire. It's probably pretty warm.
but it looks
There,
cold though. That's weird. Isn't that like weird? That's also kind of one of those things. That's kind of eerie. Like
just the area of the
it,
fog, really.
it looks cold, but it might be hot.
The
Ugh.
only one that's actually cold, there's actually one Silent Hill that's actually based in ice and snow, and that's Shattered Memories.
Oh yeah, I think I see your mom playing that like a long, long time ago.
Yeah, it's on the PS2. It's also yeah. Anyways, it's the rarest PS2. It's the rarest PlayStation Silent Hill made, and the town is like it's a winter version of Silent Hill.
Do you think we're gonna get like a remaster of that one day?
I would love that. so much. They seem to
I,
be they're remaking all of them. I mean, I say all of them, but they're remaking Silent Hill 1 right now. Comes out next year.
it'd be cool to see like all the snow and stuff in 4K. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah, I mean, it's a very short game. Not a lot of people like it, but I kind of
that'd,
like. You already got the fog, anyways. Go ahead and play in that like in snow. That would be really fun.
that'd
That'd
be
be
more
fun.
scary too.
Yeah, because it's more dark in the day as well.
Hmm.
That'd be cool. I wonder what creatures. I don't remember that game very much, but I wonder what like winterized creatures there would be.
It's like just a scary acid spitting snowman. Just
He's
like
fighting a bunch of yetis.
it's
Really,
just basically just like Frosty the Snowman, but he's just like I know what you did
he
instead of
spits out his like like ice acid.
yeah, just instant frozen.
Uh, yeah,
Oh man.
yeah. So I guess we can move on to like one of the biggest things about Silent Hill is like what we keep on talking about is
Wait,
like
wait, wait. So you talked about that there are landmarks, like so we talked about the prison and the
oh yeah.
hospital. Or do we have? Are there any other cool things? Like you mentioned churches too. Like, are there any fun things to do there? Like, so maybe because like I said with the Chuck E. Cheese, like what is there there? Is there anything fun there? Like I know it's not supposed to be really fun. It's like supposed to be bad, but like there got to be in like a park or something. You know what I mean?
There are parks, yeah.
Like
There are a few parks
I
like
think if they had an amusement park, that'd be cool. Like a scary amusement park you just go through. Like I think that would make a really fun part of the game.
that'd be cool. Like off what horror game has an amusement park? You know what I'm thinking of?
Mm,
I'm thinking of the little ride trial from Outlast Trials.
you're right. Yep,
That's what I'm thinking of. I don't the amusement park from Outlast Trials. That's what I'm thinking of.
that
Which
makes
is
more
a great
sense.
game, but anyways.
They should make it like a Silent Hill based in an amusement park. That'd be cool. Almost like a Mickey Mouse situation gone wrong, where basically like not Mickey Mouse, but like the dude who like runs like the amusement park and all the bad stuff he did to
Uh-huh.
people. And say like maybe he was like a serial killer or something, so he was like normally like poisoning people's food and stuff like that, and he has to live through that again.
Yeah, and like the people like are riding on the ride for multiple times and
Yeah,
like
like
it
he's
can't escape.
that'd be wild. Just have like some dude like the oh, you know the conductor would be
That
creepy.
would be a cool like horror show.
That would be cool. Well, maybe we got a next idea. You never know. Maybe that's crazy.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. So what were you saying about the landmarks?
Well, I'm saying like what or is it? So I know there's a
Oh
lot
yeah,
of
is there anything fun to do?
buildings.
No, it was just a normal town, playgrounds, movie
Oh,
theater. That was a movie theater.
well, I know you were talking about like how the hospital has like very intense emotions
Yeah,
attached to it because of how it was, but like if you had like an amusement park or like a like a regular park maybe like because I always have fun going to the park with my kids, maybe it would hold on to those like good memories or like something like that. Or I mean, you could have two stuff like where that one little kid gets lost at the amusement park and now you have to deal with like the intense emotion of him missing his mom or whatever.
there's some of that in playgrounds on Silent Hill Homecoming, or like the movie theater. There's a movie theater in most of the Silent Hills, or as in Silent Hill 2, there was a strip club,
Oh
Heaven's
yeah,
Night, it was
yeah.
called.
Gotta
Maria
have it.
there.
Gotta have entertainment. Yeah. The music in that one sucked though. The music in the strip club was awful. Like it's just
Yeah,
like annoying. You just the
what
whole
caused
time.
me to go there?
Oh
Yeah,
my
that's really
goodness.
it. It was pretty, like I said, it was a pretty small town. So as far as entertainment, you had the lake. Really, that was your that was basically your best source of entertainment. Really,
Yeah, that's crazy.
yeah,
Hmm. So I
very
guess
small town.
if you don't need a band-aid or you didn't do anything bad, and maybe if you don't want to be religious, you're just
Go for
stuck.
a swim.
You're
Yeah,
like stuck
you're
doing nothing
stuck.
but
Yeah, you're
swimming.
swimming.
Ugh.
Yeah,
So
I know.
if you had to get like if you were there in the town yourself, like what do you think would be the least like the building that you would least want to like visit or like the landmarks, I guess, yourself. You know what I mean?
The hospital.
You think the hospital?
Yeah, because just because
Why?
the nurses, no.
You thi-
In real life, the nurses are crazy.
that's true. I mean, They
No,
also look pretty
no.
tall too, so they got to be like harder to fight. And they're not really muscular, but they're a pain in the butt to kill.
Yeah, they're
Like
just
especially when
quick
you're
and they're a little more durable.
premium. Yeah, because I'm thinking of like I think the hospital would suck because like you have to deal with all that. But I think, like I said before, like I feel like the prison was not that was awful because like you had to deal with all the random like because that in the hospital was like kind of low enough you could see the ceiling. Well, like some of those like places in the prison were like high up, so like you couldn't see. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
something just jumping out the top of the ceiling. That would be scary. Oh man, that'd be awful. Like
Yeah, I
that would
guess
be
as far
spooky
as
stuff.
like the atmosphere, the prison's worse.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's darker
But
in the
as
prison too, because
yeah,
there's a
that too. And like it's older, so the it's just like more of a
well, so like you know how like in the hospital, a lot of the things are like things are marked, but also like you know, it was easier to like see things
yeah,
versus
that's what I'm
like
saying. So
how
like it didn't feel like as abandoned
yeah, because like you had
or
all
such
these
sorts.
little you had all the little
And
like freaking cells and stuff that you didn't know exactly what was in and all that. Like and it's obviously we know it's something um that has a bad stigma behind it because it's prison. So obviously you have prisoners and stuff there. So like I would be worried that Silent Hill would have made some of those prisoners still be there just to mess with me. And now I gotta fight all these freaking crazy dudes that are left in the dang prison. And also
yeah,
there's just
that
so many
or as far
cells.
as the creatures you fought could have been the prisoners that were there.
Oh yeah, I never thought of that because like a lot of yeah, because you really don't see any nurses in the prison, so you just see all those like little
Yeah.
the
And
spitters.
if you remember there were some spitters that were trapped in the jail cells, they
Oh
were
yeah, I see.
already
Because when you had to pull the yeah, you're right. Hmm.
hmm. And I wonder if that's like a thing, like if you're stuck there so long you become
Oh, like one of
uh,
the yeah,
yeah.
like a
Wh-
really bad entity. So well, like Pyramid Head though, like what if it in that theory that you're saying though, what dictates the being like you become something important like Pyramid Head versus just one of those little like ugly acid spitter things that don't really mean anything.
Yeah, but Pyramid Head's different though.
Yeah.
So like I mean I can go down the story of Pyramid Head. So Pyramid Head like we already know Pyramid Head's the most famous like horror monster in the games,
Uh-huh.
but he's more than just like evil of sake of like he's not evil for the sake of being evil, really. So like I said, so James is saying like his head was like mental wise, and so like he exists because James is unconsciously like he unconsciously believes that he deserves to suffer because of what he had done in his past.
Mhm.
So his mind is punishing him by having this creature, monster, whatever word you want to call it.
So basically, you're saying like Pyramid Head represents like either the biggest thing that you have wrong, or like basically the end all be all of the Silent Hill's hold on you, more or less. Like it's like these are all things that like I can punish you with, but we know that like if you're afraid of the dark or whatever, like that's basically the worst thing that you can face in there because that's the worst thing that you're scared of or whatever.
Yeah, so like he's basically like James's like desire for punishment, really,
It's like his
and
reflection of like his biggest regret, basically.
yeah, so like he's you could think of it as like he like resembles like an executioner from Silent Hill, making him like a symbol of judgment and execution, really,
Hmm.
for what he has done. And playing a game with his head, he like basically Silent Hill is portraying his head and pulling up like all of what his mind thinks and creating this entity being such as Pyramid Head is just one of the feelings of like he has, and basically he's fighting himself.
So Pyramid does Pyramid Head like is he in the other games like at Homecoming and all those or no?
Yeah, so that brings a lot of controversy because supposedly, like I said, James, not James, Pyramid Head was made in specifically Silent Hill 2, and it represents James.
Well, I remember you saying like basically it's like James's like desire to hate himself, and he
Mhm.
turned into Pyramid Head. But like when you don't follow the story of James anymore, that's what I was saying. Where I was getting with like maybe it's not James, maybe it's just your biggest, like I guess the biggest regret or like maybe your biggest fear or whatever, or kind of what I guess you deserve. The biggest thing that you deserve, the end all be all of like your punishment, I guess. And so that's
Yeah.
like why he exists still in all the other games because
So he actually only exists in 2.
so he's not in like Homecoming or any of the other ones.
He's in Homecoming and Silent Hill 2.
Hmm.
Those are the only ones he's ever in. Because, like I said, for the reasons he represents James and all of the judgment and
Is James in Homecoming?
no,
Okay, now there's holes in this
James.
theory.
Yeah, James is only in Silent Hill 2.
That's what I thought. I was like, so that means there's holes in this fucking theory then.
Uh, with just Pyramid Head being this like big creature and just a part of Silent Hill going to kill anybody who's there, yeah. Because in Homecoming, you only see him. Yeah, you only see him once, and it's the apartments that's also in Silent Hill 2.
Mm-hmm.
The apartments, he's behind this obstruction of destroyed furniture and everything in the hallway, and he hears something, so he crouches down, and you see Pyramid Head walk across. That's the only thing you get with him in Homecoming. I think it's just like an appreciation snippet of just showing Pyramid Head, because why
So just
not
like
throw
a
him in there?
real like
Because
wild like cameo more or less.
yeah, basically. So yeah, he's only in
I
Silent Hill
mean,
2. But
so
I'm also okay with having Silent Hill have this main executioner guy going around people who shouldn't belong in Silent Hill, of like, whether it be there's a reason why you're in here, so let's get you out or you get killed. You know what I mean?
I was thinking of like this where you're talking about it like kind of represents James
Mhm.
and stuff like that. But what if we assume that James either got out or James like dies or whatever. But like maybe they all happen literally. So like basically, um, James's story is either happening at the same time or because of like they're all in the same Silent Hill fog or whatever. Maybe like they remember pieces, and so like they were like, "Oh, this was a really good thing that really tortured this dude last time, so let's carry this over to the next piece." And I don't know, or maybe like basically
Yeah,
James is there all
yeah,
along, and you just don't
because
see
there's
James.
there's a lot of um the same creatures. So like there's one that's the lying figure, the one that crawls, and
Mhm.
also it spits the acid. That's like basically it's called like the straight jacket monster, because you know the way it is.
Mhm.
That one's in a bunch of them. The bubblehead nurses, or even well, the mannequins are not. That's only in Silent Hill 2.
It's because they
Or
suck. Them things suck. They're awful.
yeah,
That's
I
probably
mean,
why they were just like, "Yeah, we're not doing this again. This is bad." Like,
the mannequins.
yeah, the mannequins that just jump
Those
off
mannequins
behind
are
stuff.
awesome, dude.
I mean,
Do you know
they're
do
fun,
you
but they're
know
just
what
like goofy.
the mannequins represent?
Like anxiety.
No, so um the mannequins represent like objectification. What was it? Objectification, sexual temptation, and repressed desire. That's what it represents.
I guess that kind of makes sense because it's only the like sexualized parts of a woman's body left over,
Yeah, yeah, it's
but
just
as
the
well,
torso,
like
just the legs.
it just doesn't look right either. So it's not quite sexy or desirable. So basically, it's Silent Hill's way of being like, this is something we're punishing you for, but we're also not going to reward you with you being like, hey, look at all that ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
because so basically the lack of like identity of the woman suggests like James is like viewing women as objects during
oh
like
yeah,
during his emotional isolation, like his
basically
emotions
they're not
walking on
real.
through.
Basically, pretend like women are not really not important to him. Basically, like you're saying
Yeah,
in
it doesn't.
James.
Yeah, basically, and it stops from him allowing to have any of that.
I guess that makes
You know what I
sense.
mean?
Knowing, I mean, because we
And
know what
having that fight
happens.
against him, well,
I mean, that's because we know what happens. At obviously why he was there, um, and
not really
so
gonna spoil it, but
right, right. So like we all know what happens and why he's there. And if you play the game or you haven't, you should. But at the same time, that makes sense that they would have only put those mannequins in two because of maybe the next person that needed to be punished didn't really objectify people that way, and so it just really didn't apply to their character anymore.
Yeah,
That kind of makes sense why they wouldn't put them in a different game.
yeah.
So not
So
necessarily in a way of like we don't need them anymore, but more or less like oh they served their purpose.
yeah, so yeah, there's a bunch of different monsters, same in different other games, and so basically that could work. I could see that if you want to make that connection. That's a cool theory of like, hey, this has worked for previous visitors or ongoing people. You know, let's just have them represent a different way, or just have that like that's just, or that could just be people who are currently there, and that's just what it is. It doesn't represent anything.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
I think, like I said before, it's kind of like if you go in the way of that, the fog is like an entity. The way it
Yeah.
is, like it does the same thing where he like saves things that he knows scares people or creates fear, which helps him feed. Like how the clowns were the reason he's like a clown most of the time is because one the clowns were inviting to little kids, so it was either to, like get the kids and like eat them or whatever, but as well
Yeah.
like some people were scared of clowns, so it works one or two ways. Either you like trust the clown a lot to go and like touch, talk to him, and you get eaten, or you're so scared of the clown that he now feeds off your fear, which
Yeah.
works both ways. So that
Which
that makes sense with
basically
like the
kind
way
of
the fog
makes
works.
sense
Yeah.
too.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I
Um.
think you
Yeah.
can take that different routes if you wanted to,
That's
which
weird.
that's kind of cool. I didn't think about how they could all like be connected and reused in some way, or just people who were
Hmm.
just there too long or who lived there and just became a part of the town itself.
That sucks to think about. Like you just didn't have the money to move out, or you're like I bought this town, or I bought this house and I'm staying here, and
I'm
now Silent
staying here,
Hills,
damn it.
or like now Silent Hills like you can stay here, but you ain't gonna stay here for free.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean like so now you got to be an acid spitter or a nurse, and you're like, bro, I
Yeah.
was just a
So
coal miner.
that you can use that another example. So in the Silent Hill movie, the first one, when the church bell is the significant
What?
the
Yeah.
signifying thing of like
Oh.
it's changing, and all the people run inside this church because the darkness is just running through,
Hmm.
and if you're not in that church, Pyramid Head comes and kills you.
Oh yeah, you're right. Cause like the girl gets got, but also like it seems like the it's almost like the fog has like a certain reverence for if you've noticed if you learned your lesson kind of, and that's kind of what the religion thing kind of symbolizes more or less, like that you like changed from what you used to be, and so it kind of
Yeah.
respects that, and that's why Pyramid Head is scared to go inside the church or whatever.
Yeah, so yeah, the darkness, which makes sense. The darkness and the bad part of Silent Hill does not overtake in churches.
It's weird.
So yeah, um,
Sanctuary, sanctuary. You know what
yeah,
I'm talking
and so you'll be. No, I don't know what you're talking about, to be
about?
honest.
From like Hunchback of Notre Dame, he's like sanctuary. Oh,
I
you
don't
need to
know what
watch
that
it.
is.
That sucks. That's a
I
good
don't know
one.
ball.
You don't know, ball?
No,
Dang.
but speaking of the church in darkness, so you'll be able to see the alternate form of Silent Hill while you're still in the like other form, the
Oh,
real nature of the town before it
so
switches.
so basically saying like if you're in the church, you could open the door to the church, but as long as you're staying inside, it'd be like looking out a window. You're like, man, it's really
Yep.
messed up out there. Let me close that door.
Yeah, basically.
You're like, ah, I'm good on that one.
Yeah, I'm staying inside. Which brings up to basically while we're continuing, so while we brought up how like why people see more than others
Hmm.
basically in this town, talking about how like that's probably the greatest mystery of Silent Hill itself. So like not everybody experiences the same in the town. And like we said, some people could drive through the town without anything unusual and others could never return. And like we talked about why, well, we've already come to a conclusion. There's no really an answer. Just some people believe, and we could also believe that it could be emotional trauma that acts like a key, basically like what happened to James. All that emotional shit, fighting with himself, what he did,
Hmm.
and others think that it draws people deeper in that town, like guilt draws them deeper in that town. and you can go another route. Maybe grief opens the doors that normally remain closed, and you can go on saying like, well, if that's true, well, then Silent Hill isn't choosing it's not choosing its victims. It's responding to something that's already inside them. As we've already discussed, it's feeding off what they are expressing, what they're feeling, as while they're in this area, land, entity area, and that's perhaps probably the most frightening thing possibility about the town. Like the horror was never in the town. The town simply just like gave it this shape, really, and the people who came in basically made it the horror for themselves.
Hmm. Basically, the town is more like a mirror than anything else.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh,
go ahead. I'm trying to think of.
so you think if you were faced with having to go to Silent Hill, or you like, you ended up being there and you fall into the actual like, where you'd have say it'd be like Silent Hill 47 Dakota's edition or whatever. I don't know. And up to no good because it's a play on like you being tall, up to no good. Anyway, but you say, what do you think it would show you? Like what do you think your thing would be? You know what I mean? Like obviously don't be like if you did some crazy if you murdered somebody, don't admit that on the podcast, you know what I mean? But at the
Oh,
same
lucky for you, I haven't.
well, I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Obviously if you murder somebody, you probably got to relive the murder over and over. But like
I
or
don't
maybe
know.
you
I
feel
don't.
it through their eyes or something. But I'm just like,
I don't know. As far as like for me, I mean, I don't. Just, that's.
hmm,
I don't
yeah.
know.
I don't know. I feel like if I had to go into it and like I haven't done anything that I think
That's what
would
I'm saying.
be
So it's like,
warranting. But if it goes based off things that it knows that are inside of you, it reflects. You know, if I'm on a good day, it's probably fine. But because I have like my own mental struggles sometimes that I have on my own, if I roll up in Silent Hill having a bad day, it could be rough. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
like
I
maybe
guess
there's
like
my
it could
anxiety and
pull like
stuff will just
like
mess it up.
it would be like past loved ones that they could pursue, knowing that you really miss and care about, because that's really deep in like some feelings and stuff.
Basically, torture you with something that
Yeah,
you wish that
torture
you could
you
have
with your
had,
own death. Yeah,
or maybe you had like it does like stuff where it maybe like possibilities that you've lived over in your head. So like maybe if you'd have done that thing, maybe that you might have maybe be more successful than you are now, but something you decided not to do. So it shows you like oh you have to relive over and over that now like that choice was something you should have made or thought you might have made, or maybe like a relationship with somebody who maybe you shouldn't have treated that girl the way that you did or whatever, and maybe
yeah.
that would
Same
end up
thing
being
with
a happy relationship.
same thing with James, basically.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just
Uh,
hope I don't ever find myself having to worry about that.
no. Or why
Like,
should be trapped in there because like you stole like a piece of gum in Walmart when you were 4 years old.
mm-hmm.
Out
It's
there
like
kicking your ass
it's
because the
like
gum you stole.
you're just like Silent Hill in the fog is like we remember. You're like remember what? I don't even remember it. You're just like now you're out here having
Because
to
you
fight the
just get
ass spitters.
bubblegum fucking monsters just fighting your ass.
Like the end all be all. Your pyramid head's just a big like bubble monster. That's awful. You're just like
Oh, man.
how do you kill a big bubble monster? You just have to I don't know, like, pop the bubble. I guess you just better hope you have like
Well,
a sharp object.
well, or so that can bring up another thing, like we're talking about earlier, like so Pyramid Head. So like what it could be like is once you like it realizes of what you've done, and like I feel like at the end of Silent Hill 2, he finally accepts the truth of what he done
Mm-hmm.
and became open to it. And then Pyramid Head like had no purpose and he left and he killed himself.
Pyramid Head
So
killed himself.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
I just
Dang.
you didn't even finish the game.
I'm almost done. It's cool. It's fine.
Spoiler, sorry.
It is what it is. But that makes sense though, because like once basically Silent Hill, because it doesn't seem like Silent Hill is inherently evil. Like we've been basically it's been a recurring thing over all the whole conversation we've had. It doesn't seem like it's inherently evil, and when it feels like you've learned your lesson, it kind of gives you like, I guess a moment of not I wouldn't say bliss because you're still in Silent Hill, so it's not gonna be great. But
Yeah.
it's more or less like okay, it won't be as bad anymore. Kind of like what you just said, like with
It's like
Pyramid Head
Saul.
finally deciding.
It's
Yeah,
like
I
Saul,
mean,
really. So the puzzle,
yeah,
so you being trapped, the puzzle is basically Silent Hill, and it's going to give you a chance to
redeem yourself.
either just say F it or give you a chance to fight through. And once you fight through it, it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be terrible. But once you get through it, you realize what you've done, accepted it. You're gonna be messed up from there on out,
Mhm.
but you've accepted it and have moved on. Not moved on, but you accepted what you've done and just like, you know,
That's what I'm saying is like I feel like it gives you the chance to like learn your lesson,
yeah,
and then
that's
it
I
basically
never made that connection before. That's kind of
if
cool.
you've shown that I mean that's kind of what you just said like if the big bad that was really an issue for James just basically fizzles off into nothing or whatever happens, um basically Silent Hill realizes that you don't need that anymore to teach you what you need to know
Yeah,
because you've already learned that lesson.
yeah.
Maybe Silent Hill's job is like a really like hardcore therapist in this
Same
way.
thing
It's
with
like
Saul.
I'm just like
My
I'm like
toe
that's
and
a
go.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm like, it's just a really hardcore therapist. It's like, we tried to talk to you, so now we're just gonna have to beat it into you.
I'm just seeing
Like,
Silent Hill saying, "Play a game."
or it's
It's
like,
Silent Hill. You see Pyramid Head sitting there saying that. I want to play a game.
I'm just thinking it like, as soon as you said, see, like saying something, I'm like, I envision like that scene from the Boondocks with like the Booty Warrior. It's like,
Oh no!
Silent Hill's like, we could do this the easy way or the hard
On a
way.
hard way.
The choice is yours. You're like, I didn't do anything
Ha-
wrong. You're like, the choice is mine now. You know what I mean? Like Pyramid Head's coming for that booty. I came
What do you
looking for
think Pyramid Head
James,
sounds
but
like?
he probably sounds like Booty where he like I can't looking for James, but
Can you imagine him sound like Carl Weezer?
I just forget what it's like. Jimmy Schmum. He's like James, come here. You know you've been wrong.
I'm here for James. James Sunderland.
You know better than what you've done, James.
Come here, boy.
Have you seen
Uh,
Jimmy's mom?
Have you seen James?
oh goodness!
Oh man.
And now, since we're bringing up to that part and we're making that connection, like we can talk about like, can you escape? Because many have hindered, some have left, and like others, like we talked about from the first one of the movies, others have vanished forever. But even those who escaped often carry that Silent Hill with them, like I've talked about. So, like
So really you can't escape.
James,
You can't escape.
physically,
I mean, yeah, you can physically
Phys-
escape, but as a whole, you can't
but
escape
as like
Silent
we're
Hill
talking
because
about
you're
like right now, yeah, you're never going to be to actually escape Silent Hill. Because like James, he has his nightmares and the hallucinations, and like you always get like the overwhelming feeling that like the town wasn't finished with you or wasn't finished. So it's like it's almost as like though like leaving physically isn't enough. So like Silent Hill has seen you and a part of it remains, or like perhaps like a part of you remains there,
like your
just
soul,
waiting.
like a piece of your soul.
Yeah, like a piece of you is there waiting for
Mm.
more, or you to like, and then you're in Silent Hill. I don't know. I don't know if like once you're there, if like say you just finally off yourself, which we may have to bleep that up, but once like if that was the case, you're cursed back to Silent Hill. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, that's like a wild punishment. Basically, like you feel like you had the power, but Silent Hill all along is like, yeah, you could do the ultimate, take it out on yourself if you wanted, but like, go ahead and do it again. You're gonna have to do it again in about 20 mintes anyway.
Yeah,
Like
because it's like that punishment is like we're now giving you this chance or opportunity. You escaped, but you go ahead and waste the opportunity. You're punished. You're going to come back. You're coming with us.
I mean, yeah, because it kind of sounds like what we were saying before. He's like a really rough therapist. Kind of end up being like, you have a choice, but at the end of the day, you only get the
It's really
choices.
not.
You don't have a choice. You're gonna be better, but we want you to make that choice on your own, or at least feel like you have, so it makes sense to you.
Yeah, so that's crazy about how like it does it, by how it actually like it basically it's like giving you a second chance by hand, like it's like we're talking about how it's keeping you a part of you there, not
Yeah,
like not physically but like soulfully, but like part of you there solely, but it gives you a chance to go. And like how we were saying earlier, it's like a chance for you to make your decision to like be grateful for what
basically,
they've given you,
basically, I want you
and
to do the whole like,
yeah, not to make another mistake again, really.
right. I want you to do your own personal, I guess, like theory, not theory. God damn it, I said theory, but basically, like your own sort of like personal therapy in a way that it's forced you into, kind of, but making that
Yeah.
your own choice on that.
So it's like, I guess at the end of the day, we are the ones that are making Silent Hill our enemy or our own horror, like our own, I wouldn't say horror, our own monster, really. Kind of like how we've been reiterating this entire time about the whole thing about it. So basically, like you're creating
You
your
basically
own
making your own.
outcome.
You're making your own prison in a sense,
Yeah.
where
No.
basically, if you decided to be, um, if you decide to make a better choice earlier, maybe it won't be as bad as long. And then if you decide to be a complete like piece of shit where you want to like deny every single thing you've ever done that is trying to show you that you're just like, oh, well, I'm just getting punished for no reason. Basically, you're gonna continue doing this until you can figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by it doing that, like we said, there's just a part of you waiting for whether you're good or you're bad. So it's kind of interesting.
Hmm. You think
So
we
I
know?
guess go ahead.
So you think we know any people that probably could use that kind of, you know, treatment? I guess from Silent Hill. Not like
No, no,
personally, not personally like
no,
in our life, but like in the world, like who you think would
no.
be good for like Silent Hill therapy? You know what I mean?
Do we need to drop names?
That's all I'm saying. I'm like you in general, like it's in the whole like say like Ted Bundy, and for instance, as big as that. Now it doesn't have to be like our neighbor Fred
Or
down the
like
street.
Epstein, Jeffrey Dahmer?
Right? Do you think that in a way, because
No.
like what we
Yeah,
talked about.
it'd be a good test, but people like that won't make it out.
Well, I'm saying, yeah, I
They're
mean, I'm
too
sure they
crazy.
won't. Well, that's what I was saying. Is like, do you think that they have a chance at the, I guess, hard knocks of not physical therapy, but
Oh,
like,
no.
therapy administered by the Silent Hill as a whole? I
No.
guess you don't think
No,
they're
there's no way.
redeemable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're too far, and they won't like those are the people who aren't like what James did, accepted the truth and have grasp of what they've done or are willing to, you know, move on from it. They accepted who they were and embraced it by keep doing what they were doing. And
I mean, I think
I
it
think
kind of sounds like, in a way, that Silent Hill has limitations on what it can or can't do. Or
mhm.
in a point, like, because yeah, if you had say a really bad serial killer or something who doesn't understand, or not that they didn't understand that they done wrong, but basically don't feel bad for doing whatever they done, basically you're gonna get punished the way that Silent Hill feels that you need to be punished because it's gonna give you your evil back. But basically, you're saying that evil's at one point or another. I guess Silent Hill deems evil too evil, and you just have to take the evil out.
So exactly. So here's a great example in Silent Hill 1. Um, the lady over the church,
Mm-hmm.
part of Silent Hill, and anybody who came in or anybody who lived there who disobeyed the rules, she killed them, right?
Oh, like the lady who's like running
Yes.
the cult or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, she would kill the people. And then at the end, it's not a big spoiler, but at the end, the people in the church finally opened their eyes and realized that she was the evil that needed to be taken care of. And they killed her the same way that she would kill those people.
Right. Basically, it kind of came to be that like
So yeah, I mean your
it's
point, that's a great
yeah.
example.
I was just thinking about that. I'm like trying to figure out how to explain it. Yeah, I guess basically at one point or another that, like I said before, is that Silent Hill kind of judges how evil is too evil, and then it makes
Yeah,
the choice on whether you're redeemable or not. And it gives you, like we said before, it gives you the ability to be rehabilitated if it believes that you can be, and if it knows
yeah,
that you can't, it never is going to give you that choice because it knows you're not going to make that choice anyway.
yeah.
But
So
like with James, he was going to be like, "Oh, I'm sorry," because he already basically Silent Hill already knew that he was remorseful in his own.
in its own way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so that with that we can start like by closing by saying like how Silent Hill really has no official mayor or there's no like official like answer that defines its mystery. So whether it be like no scientist can explain its impossible phenomenons, or like no historian can like uncover like every secret that was like brought up and told from the natives or early settlers at that time, or like the town resists it. The town will will resist every explanation because there's too many outcomes and possibilities to try to have one explanation. And so maybe that's exactly why it's like it's fascinated so many people for decades in that term of sense, and even as a fan base, how we're so fascinated by it because like it's most certainly it like its certainty destroys mystery because like it's beyond a mystery.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
so like go ahead.
so I think it comes into being a like you said, it is it's so many different things in one way or another, and the way I guess it's designed in the story, and kind of goes back to what we said. It could be its own version of a creepy pasta that just isn't labeled that way yet,
Yeah.
because uh, there's so many different variations of what could happen, like you said, and that there's no definitive like, oh, this is how it's going to end, or this is how it begins, or whatever
Yeah.
else. It kind of just is, which is weird,
It
and it
like
also
it
makes
is
that's
what
what
it
gives it
is.
scary. Like that's what makes it
Yeah.
kind of scary is like that you can't be prepared for something because there's no way to prepare for something that's never the same.
Yeah. And so, like, Silent Hill makes us ask these questions without providing any comfortable answers, like how we've talked about. Is it haunted, or is it even alive, or is it actually another dimension, or could it just be simply another place where human emotion becomes more powerful enough to reshape their reality? Maybe the answer could be all of those. I mean, for all we know,
Well, it's
and
also
or maybe the
one of
next time you
those.
find yourself driving through, like
Mhm.
heavy fog, you'll understand why some roads are better left unexplored after all.
Yeah, that's true.
Because at the end of the day, every town has secrets. Just Silent Hill refuses to bury its own.
Yeah, I
It's
think
really what it comes down to.
one of the one things that's crazy if you think about it is like Silent Hill is only real in your mind. So it's not
Yeah.
really real. It's just real in your mind. So basically, that's why it kind of makes sense.
It's like it just makes you have like severe like psychosis, really.
Yeah, well, it's kind of what I was thinking of like earlier, because like the first couple games makes more sense because they're all kind of like in Silent Hill, but in a different way or a different form. But then you get to like Silent Hill F, or I think the one that's coming up soon that you were talking about. I can't remember what it's called. What's it called? The new one?
Silent Hill 1. Oh, Silent Hill Townfall.
Townfall. Where
That
like
one's insane a million.
those, well, those are not in the same town, right?
No.
That's what I'm saying. So in the theory of that it's in your head, or it's the I guess the entity, or even if it's not an entity, it's just a way that your brain moves, and that's why the girl like in Silent Hill F is in Japan or China or wherever, and it's not it's not the town that we typically, because there is no Toluca Lake, there is no
No.
Brookhaven Hospital and all that. You have all the other pieces to whatever makes that story its own, but also it's unique in a it's the same thing, but it's unique to her own understanding because she's insane in her own right in her mind, and it's her own prison that she's made in her mind. I guess it kind of comes back to what we said with the rehabilitation aspect of like she made her own prison because she decided not to act right.
Yeah.
So I guess the message in all of it is accept the rehabilitation, or you're gonna be in a mess.
Yeah. Accept your fate and go move on from the past and realize what's going on.
Um,
So yeah, that's basically everyone. That's basically Silent Hill down to the nitty gritty of just the town itself and a little bit of the movies and games. Try not to really get into that because that could be a
confusing.
lot and there's it's confusing and there's so much. But basically, as far as like the lore and everything of Silent Hill, this is basically what it consumes of and how it affects its people and
Ooh.
what it fan base it draws us into.
So I had a cool question that I was thinking about, and it's kind of fun to since we're kind of coming to a close of like the what we've been talking about, but based on information and everything that we've talked about, what do you think a cool concept for a future story in the Silent Hill, I guess, not really like timeline or whatever, but like basically what would make a really cool game or movie in its own right using the same, Silent Hill kind of like stuff, if that makes sense. Like I had an idea for one, and like while you're thinking, if you want to hear it, I don't know if
Yeah,
you
go
want
ahead.
to,
Go
but
ahead. I'm thinking.
um, I think a
Good
really
question.
cool way to do it, and this is controversial, obviously in its own right, but I think a really cool way to do it would be to have like a maybe someone who owned like slaves have his own version of Silent Hill to relive all the horrors that he's done to his like people that he was owned, and that way he kind of
Mhm.
basically it kind of gives um the payoff of like the horrible things that he's committed has now come back to be reflected onto him, and
And
he
who knows? That
understands.
may have happened.
All right, that's something that's cool too. Is like,
As far as early civilization, that may have happened.
well, like that too, but also if you think about it, like, and that's another controversial way. Do you think Hitler may have had his own version of Silent Hill wherever he may be? I know it's like
Possibly.
kind of crazy to talk about, but like I mean, in a theory, like if
I don't
anybody
want to be in that
deserves
one.
it, and if anybody deserves it, and also I wouldn't want to see what a horrible atrocities that turned out to be what it was in the Silent Hill form.
Yeah, in his head, no, I'm good.
That'd be awful. But
That'd be terrible.
so, what do you think? Like I said, my bad. I kind of went on a little.
No, I
Yeah.
mean that's
What do
I
you think would
mean
be a
that's
cool way of like a game or another story? What do you think a possibility is? Like kind of what I was talking about with like the slave thing. Like, what do you think a possibility of a story that might have been or could
like
be?
an Al Capone,
Possibly. That'd be kind of cool.
like a 1940s like mafia leader.
I
Like
think that would
see
make a
what
cool game. Like you just have like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's cool.
because it wouldn't have to be like Capone himself.
Well, no,
You
but
could
just like
do
an Italian, like just or mafia in general.
you could
I
have like a
think that's
mafia version of a guy who wanted to get out of it but never made the choice of getting out of it. So now he has to live through all the bad shit he's ever done because he never was strong enough in his mind
but never
to
meant, but
speak up.
never wanted to stay. He had no choice
Well, is he that, or like you could say, like he could have made that choice multiple times, but he
because he
decided
did.
to. Right, he didn't, but because he decided to, whatever reason that may be, whether it be money or power or whatever, he decided to say, "Oh well, like it's not as bad as it could be," and went on his way, and now he has to live through his own version of
And
that.
and you know it'd be cool because like I'm such like it's such a, not a big thing, but like having that game set in like that 40s to 50s, whatever, and it like be in black and white,
That'd be cool.
like that'd be
Or at
cool.
least maybe like large portions of it being black and white. So maybe you could do the regular game, the regular kind of like, or like a weird like sepia tone, but then like your cutscenes would be in black and white or something. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I really think
I
more
mean,
games.
I've always enjoyed that kind of like era, like because one of the things that I think we both first kind of encountered for games wise that had that kind of feel to it was like, Black Ops 3 with the zombies map that had the 1920s like that was that was probably
Yeah,
one of the cooler like maps. It wasn't the best map, but it had a cool story, you
yeah,
know.
those are pretty interesting. And
But
like I get like the feel like from the Nicolas Cage Spider Noir,
mhm,
the black and white. I don't know. I've been thinking about that. Like that's pretty cool.
it makes it feel like you're. I guess
Yeah,
it makes it feel less like you're being told about it and more like you lived it. I don't know.
yeah. I feel like I think because like we're heading like such into like a modern like thing. I think they need to like more vintage like time stuff. Like that'd be cool.
Hmm, that would be neat.
Yeah,
But
that'd be neat.
so, like you said, going towards the end of this, as a whole, you guys, if you've made it this far in the video, we appreciate you guys for doing so. Thank you very
Yeah, thank
much.
you guys
But
so much for listening.
a good thing to leave you guys with is like what we were talking about. What do you think is your own personal like Silent Hill? I guess like what could be your own personal Silent Hill? Like if you guys want to comment that in the comments, or maybe even like what we talked about before, would make a really cool idea for a future project that maybe who knows
Yeah,
the people who Konami or is it Konami?
yeah.
Yeah, Konami. Maybe they read our comments and they pull out one of our things, and now one of you guys have already you know given it. But uh
Or if you played the games or watched the movies, which one's your favorite and who's your
that
favorite character or
yeah,
so forth.
we'd love to
Just
hear from you guys.
like to hear it engage.
Hmm. But yeah, so we were at what we teased earlier. So now we're to the end, so we can
Yeah,
talk about it now. But we teased earlier, so uh, we are early in our journey of this podcast and stuff. But we did finally secure us a sponsor, which is awesome. And
yeah,
it took a little, we figured it out. So with our sponsor, we have a sponsor named Dubby. So Dubby is like a natural sort of like energy drink company, and they also do like a thing called hydro.
Yeah.
which is not. It's a caffeine free version, but it's like more for. I guess it's kind of like a liquid IV sort of in a way.
Like
But
hydration.
yeah, so if you guys want to check that out, you can find the link in our link tree that's attached to most of our socials and other stuff like that. And
Yeah,
yeah,
we'll also put in the link below in the
yeah, we're
description
gonna be able to
with
find it in the
everything.
below. And we have our discount code. If you use if you want to get a 10% off of your order, whatever that, how many ever that be, is if you use the code SNACK10, all caps, all together, you'll get 10% off your order.
And we'll leave that down there in the description as well. And it helps us out actually. It will help us out.
Yeah, we could get better equipment. So if you guys have that complaint, you're like, man, Mesa sounds like crap right now. I can afford a better mic
Looking forward to better mic or better camera.
or a better camera, because you guys won't see it in this video because we're gonna edit it. But just know, the camera crapped itself earlier.
So we did some editing to make sure we're all right.
Right. So pray for us and make sure, I guess, that the camera doesn't die again. But yeah, like I said, thank you guys for coming.
Yeah,
And
thank you so
listen to
much.
us. Look forward to the next episode that should be out next week, and catch us on all the other platforms and everything. And we'd love to, like, it's a good time hanging out with you guys. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you for the engagement and try to listen to us and be along this journey. And if y'all ever think y'all want to leave anything in the comments, and if not, if you want to share it out to the people, help us
Yep.
grow.
Tell us about us. Share our friendship that we've shared with you with your friends.
Hey guys.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, don't be doing nothing bad and end up in Silent Hill. So have a good one, guys.